dive into today. I am hoping you are having a wonderful Sunday. Let me know what you guys have cooked up for today. Maybe some things that you guys have planned for this week. Definitely let me know. But first and foremost, if you don't know who I am Tara with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot. You can learn a little bit more about me by checking out the links down below, especially my website, kittensweightsandtarot.com. Maybe checking out our witchy shop, Desert Cauldron, which is owned by myself and James over at Light of Riga, also on Etsy if you're ever interested in crystal goodies. His link is down below as well. But yeah, okay, so today, homies, I put out a poll on Thursday. It was a YouTube public poll, but I also polled my YouTube members as well as my Patreon homies. And I wanted to know what you guys wanted in today's Sunday live chat. And it looks like it was almost unanimous that you guys wanted a channeling of the water. So we are going to do a weekly reading first. I have a lot of good decks here. And then we're going to channel the water. Of course, we'll do our super stickers and super chats for anybody who's looking for me to pull a card for them towards the end of the chat. And then we will do our guided meditation. All right, you guys. So, hey, Susie, what's up? All righty. So I have my tea here, and actually I blended a tea with a recipe that was given to me by my friend Heather, Silver Star Priestess. And it's this beautiful kind of greenish blue color, which is pretty cool. But anyway, so Heather said that lately she'd been drinking a mixture of Egyptian lotus flower with butterfly pea flower. So Egyptian blue lotus, butterfly pea flower, rose, mugwort, and skullcap. And then she was going to try adding vanilla since I like to add vanilla to a lot of my teas. So that's what I did. I put all that in here plus some vanilla. I haven't tasted it yet because it's still steeping, but I'm sure it's going to be delicious and definitely cosmic, out of this world. I mean, Egyptian blue lotus, mugwort, all of those are like third eye openers. And then you got the heart opener with the rose in there, and we got skull cap for healing and opening up divine feminine. So this is like feminine tea to the max, yo. Alrighty, so I will let that steep. Any of you guys drinking anything special this morning? Maybe you guys have a little tea recipe, or maybe you're just having some good old-fashioned water or water with lemon. Maybe some of you guys are drinking your coffee. Maybe some of you guys are imbibing. I don't know. Definitely let me know. Susie said, Silver Star Priestess. Sorry, my hair is all like, whew, it is so windy out there, you guys. Let me just show you some of that wind. It's like, it's pretty windy. It's like 30 plus mile an hour winds, 30 to 40 mile an hour winds with like 50 mile an hour gusts. So it's been this windy like since yesterday. And then last night, like the whole like house was a rockin'. It was so windy. So yeah, that's why we're inside today. And I had gone outside to go get my herbs. So now my hair is like, anywho. Jahid is here. Hello. This is Namaste. He's having mint tea. Susie said nothing but black coffee. Ooh, all righty. Okay. So I want to show something off to you guys before we do our weekly reading and before I show you the decks that I'm working with. As you know, James and I like to play with our toys. You know, we love to, hey John, we love to shoot our guns. We like to do, you know, target practice, of course, always practicing safety with everything. In fact, that's like our number one thing, is always how can we do this in the safest way possible. But we also like to, you know, get confident in the things that we utilize. So we have balisongs, we have karambits, we have katanas, which we've been wielding, and that's been a lot of fun. and we've been reading a lot about samurai and Japanese culture, and kind of the things that like a samurai would carry with them, usually during the Edo period. So we have the katana, and we've been looking at like wakazashis, which is like a shorter katana, but it's meant for like close quarters, I guess, combat. And then we looked at tantos, and tantos are an even shorter blade. It's more of like a dagger, but it's like your last resort. Like, let's say you're pinned to the ground and the enemy is on you. I mean, these are all, of course, like these scenarios would never really happen for us. This is us just messing around and playing. But anyway, I got myself a really nice tanto so that, I don't know, when we go on our forest walks, I feel like defender of the forest. And maybe I'll walk around with our bow and arrows too, but I still have to sew up our quiver. But I did get my sewing machine back after like 2 months of it getting repaired. And by the time they got to it, it took less than a day to repair my sewing machine. So I don't know why they had to have it for 2 months, 2.5 months. But anyway, it's back. I'm going to sew up my quiver. I'm going to make a quiver for James. Yeah, and we're just going to like go around the forest like a couple of forest folks. But anyway, we'll also have our tantos on us. So this is my tanto. And it's usually, I guess, if I was wearing traditional Japanese Edo period clothing, it would be in the back. So I would just be able to like reach behind me, and I got my tanto. But anyway, it's got such a beautiful scabbard. It is a wooden scabbard, but it's painted with this kind of speckled color. And then along the suba, which is this part right here, we have beautiful like flowers. I think they're bamboo flowers, and some are lotus blossoms. So I have bamboo and lotus blossoms here as well. Um, and then we haven't quite figured out, I think this is a dragon, but I'm not sure. Um, but they have I forgot the name of it now, but they have these little things that go underneath the wrappings to kind of show you actually where your hands go. So like your hands will go here, and then your other hand going here, so that you always have your hands in the right spot, but also a form of protection. And then on the little cap at the end here, we also have these beautiful flowers. But anyway, let me show you this baby. So it's got beautiful flowers also near the blade as well. But check that out, you guys. This thing is so freaking sharp. I've only used it to cut pool noodles because I was fixing something in the RV, but it's sharp nonetheless. No, seriously, it's sharp. And this is T10 steel, which is kind of the strongest steel they have out there. It's like a hair under some of like the top steel that's really expensive, but this is really, it's got a lot of might to it. And then where you see this wavy marquee on here, actually, let me wipe it off a little bit. It gets a little dusty in its scabbard. But this like wavy part here, that's where it's been clay and heat treated to reinforce the blade itself to make it even stronger. But yeah, that puppy is sharp. And so yeah, that's my little tanto. And you know, just kind of wielding it around, basically just kind of playing. James and I were messing around with them the other day or yesterday, and he accidentally cut his jeans a little bit, so he got like a very thin cut on his leg. But don't worry, I'm a great doctor. I bandaged it up. It was fine. He just, but we just got to remember to be very cautious when messing with live blades. So luckily he was wearing jeans, so the jeans took the brunt of it. But hey, maybe we'll turn his jeans into shorts. I don't know. But yeah, these are pretty sharp, but they come in handy as well in case, you know, you're ever out and about and you want to chop up some firewood, I guess, or you want to do some pruning, or you have some paper to cut, or pool noodles in this case. But yeah. So yeah, we have my tanto. I haven't really named my tanto or um, my katana yet. And normally I don't know, I like to name things. Like all my guns have names. My bow and arrow, my bow is Guinevere, but I haven't named these guys yet. I'm just kind of waiting. Anyway, let's see how you guys are doing. See, Nancy's here. She says, hello, beautiful souls. Hey, hey. Angela says, blessings and hugs. All good to see you all today. I manifest you all love and light and cake today. Angela said, ooh, beautiful scimitar. Nancy was like, wow. Susie said, glad he's okay. Yeah, he was fine. It was like akin to getting a paper cut. It was not that serious. Angela said, or for astral cord cutting rituals. Yes, definitely could use it for that. She says, I have a file down dagger for cord cutting. She has an angel on the scabbard. I call her Gentle Heart. Ooh, very nice. Yes, I definitely could use it in some of my cord cutting, which, I've been doing some intense shadow work sessions as of late, like every single day now. And we've been working with the cube. That's something that we learned in one of our recent channelings, is that this universe is in a cube. And so we've been trying to actually work on healing the cube itself. So talking to the consciousness that is the cube, because it is partially organic, it does partially have a consciousness. So we've been working on healing the cube. We've been working on deleting our ego program. So going in and finding every single file to delete about our individual egos. So like my individual ego. So everything that represents Terra in the 3D, I have been trying to delete. So that would be like food system, gravity systems, anything relating to family and upbringing, and just all the stuff that I guess I would identify as like identifying the ego as myself instead of my higher self as myself. So not like deleting it as in like I don't have respect for it or love or anything, but taking all the lessons, learning, and then also deleting the program, basically deleting the I am. And putting me more into the higher self. So it seems like it's going to be a lengthy process. This is not a one and done, although probably could be. I just don't know how to do that yet. But anyway, let's see. Hey, KDS Worker is here. It says, hello, beings of light. Hello, Chiquita. How are you? And Susie says, Nancy, how are you? I know it's been a year almost losing Ricky. Oh my goodness. Well, let's see. Susie said, Tara, last year was 444. For me lately, I see 555 yesterday. Every day. Yesterday, I saw like 555 right when James's computer out of nowhere just it's crashed. And he was very upset about it because all of his photos, all of his memories are on the computer. But I looked into it, and it looks like this is just a way for the higher self to show him like you can manipulate 3D using 4D, hence healing and things like that. So even things like, let's say, a busted computer can be made new again. Like with this Tanto blade that I have, there was a big rust mark on here after I got it, and I was so bummed. I was like, man, I have to return this, and it's got to go, all the way back across the seas, and I don't really want to get another blade. But then the next day, there was no rust. What I complained to the company about, it's gone. And then the company never responded. So it's almost like the email never got sent. And it's like, well, why would I send the email if there was nothing wrong with my blade? And so it's like putting yourself on a timeline where the malfunction and the email never existed. So we're doing a lot of that now. Yesterday, I was cleaning up the house, and James keeps a malachite necklace that hangs in the bedroom. And I thought, oh, maybe I'll just wear his necklace while I'm, cleaning things up. And I looked on the hook, and his necklace wasn't there. And I was like, oh, well, maybe he put it somewhere. So I didn't think anything of it. Went back to cleaning, looked back on the wall, and there hanging on the hook was the malachite necklace. So it's like things are like reappearing, disappearing, because I think timelines are just shifting like crazy. Let's see, other things that happen. Oh yeah. So I was taking a shower, and excuse me. Swallowed my spit. Sorry, guys. I was taking a shower. Ooh, that is good tea. And we always have to fill up the RV. Thank you. We always have to fill up the RV with water from our well. And so every time the RV is low on water, we just refill it. Well, the RV apparently was low on water. So when I went to go take my shower, we ran out of water. Sorry. You ever like inhale your spit and then you like cough? Like you're like, you sound like you're dying. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to cough into the microphone. Um, but anyway, um, so the water pump started acting really crazy. It was like, because it was angry because it ran low on water, whatever. But I was kind of in a grumpy mood afterwards because I wanted to take a shower. I didn't get to take a shower. I got wet, but I didn't get clean, and so I had to dry off and I was like cold the rest of the evening and I was just like kind of grumpy. And even though we had refilled the RV, it was totally full of water. The pump was still acting as if there was no water in the pump itself. So it was like, it was making this sound. And at some point towards the end of the night, I was like, you know what? I probably shouldn't even worry about the water pump. It's probably just going to be fine. Next morning, it was like nothing happened. The water pump was perfectly fine. It wasn't making the groaning sound. I looked into it, and my higher self was trying to show me, like, because of my grumpy energy, I put my grumpy energy onto the water pump. The water pump was reflecting it by groaning, like, and by the time I had realized that, you know what, it's just going to be fine, I manifested that it was fine. And so we are in like this, I feel, really intense manifestation timeline jumping time where some things appear like, if they were broken, now it's like they were never broken in the first place. They're just magically fixed. I was mentioning something about this to James about like my bank account. Um, I had gotten a few things, I got a couple of dresses because, spring is coming and, I saved up a little bit of money and there were some things that were on sale. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll get myself a couple of dresses. Um, but I was like, oh, well, I hope I get some more readings in, soon so that I could make up for the money that I used to get a couple of dresses. Well, I did get a bunch of readings that came in, and a bunch of one-on-one channelings, which I love doing those, you guys. So if you're ever interested, let me know. But I looked at my account, and in the morning, it said what my balance was, which I don't have like a lot of money, but my balance was one number. And then it said that the only transactions for the day was like paying off credit cards. And I was like, oh, okay. Um, by the end of the day, it was it showed that the same transactions were still there, that money had been taken out for paying off my credit cards, but now there was a surplus of like $200 to $300 extra, and nowhere in the activity or the statement did it show that money had been added. It just magically, all the numbers readjusted as if that extra $200 to $300 was always there. And and so even when I check my account now, um, it's staying like that. So it's not like a bank error or anything. It's like literally all the numbers readjusted and all of the like activity readjusted. I was like, what the heck? So, but that's not the first time. Like that happened when I was getting this place, like this land. I needed a certain amount of money, and the amount of money I needed just magically appeared in my account. And then I started getting checks from the IRS saying, hey, we took too much money from this tax year and this tax year. And the IRS just kept giving me checks. Like, I don't know, I got like 4 checks from the IRS saying, hey, here's some money. Here you go. I was like, what the heck? It's like out of nowhere. But so yeah, things like that are happening, bank account numbers, just whatever. I guess it's funny money anyway, if we live in an illusion. So that happened. My Tonto is fine. The water pump is fine. And I'm pretty sure James's computer will be fine, even though it looked like it self-detonated yesterday. So I think we just got to get ourselves on the timeline where his computer is perfectly fine. So that's what's going on. And also seeing all kinds of spirits and entities with my two eyes. Normally, I see everything with my third eye, but I'm seeing things with my eyeballs, which is interesting. And yeah, it's all kind of been since we've been working on this like cube meditations where we're just working on trying to heal the cube matrix itself, as well as deleting our ego programs, which also has made us like the target of all kinds of like dark entity reptilian attack type stuff. But we know our sovereignty, we know our power. So, no freaking reptilian's gonna have any power over me. So they can try all they want to like mess with our crap. But we're way more powerful. So we've been working on that lately. Thought I would just share that with you guys. Let's see. Hey, Peg is here. Hey, Peg. Nancy said, yes, Susie, it was a year. March 1st, I feel his loving presence. I am out of my fog of grief and I'm joyful. My angels and spirit guides surround me. That's amazing. Nancy says, you are on my mind often, Susie. I love you, precious girl. Russ says, hey, troops. What up, Russ? Russ says, yes, phlegm comes up from your lungs in small doses, then gets sucked back down in a glob. Haha, good morning. That's me. Angela says, oh gosh, that is so crazy. Katie said, healing vibes, appreciated all. Of course, sending good juju your way. Susie says, I've been seeing a few things like this too. Susie said, money, not spirits for me. And Peg said, this is so awesome. So yeah, I mean, hey, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of well, stuff that's hard for the ego mind to comprehend. So my ego doesn't know what the heck is going on. My higher self is like, keep it going, keep it going. All right. So, hey, you guys. Katie has said healing vibes for Laura. Definitely will send them your sister's way. Definitely, definitely. And we will do a huge healing at the end of our chat as well. So I do want to thank everybody who is here. Thank you guys for joining us, everybody who's commenting, everybody who's just lurking. I love you guys too. All of my subscribers, love you guys. Also to my YouTube members, so Lisa and Kayla and Susie, love you girls. Also to my Patreon members, so Myrna and Karen, Lisa, Lily, Dana, Heather, Kayla, Syrian, Brandy, Jason, and Brian. Love you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to everybody who's gotten readings from me lately. So like I said, I've actually been doing a lot of those one-on-one channeling sessions. So I've been able to do some channelings of different entities, higher selves, spirits, and things like that. It's been really fun because I think it's a learning experience, not only for me, but for the people that are the people that I'm channeling for as well, because not only are they looking for certain information where they get to talk directly to that entity and get the answers they need, but while my ego is like off to the side just kind of listening to the channeling, because I'm just like half asleep kind of listening to the channeling as the channel is speaking, it's like I get to learn so much as well, so much through the spirits that people want to speak to, and so much through their higher selves, and it's just amazing. So thank you guys, everybody who's gotten a channeling and or a reading. Okay, so I said that I wanted to show you guys the decks that I am working with. Let me put my little, it's not really a little blade, but let me put my blade down. Okay, so the decks that I am going to use for our weekly reading, and then we're going to do our water channeling. But first, for the weekly reading, I have my Wally's World Oracle. Hey! And then I also have the New Age Hipster Insta Oracle with me today. I also have the, wait, hold on, the Wilderness Collide Oracle, which looks just like this. And I don't know, I just brought out all my funsy decks, I guess. I have the White Newman, tarot with us today. I have the Vessel Oracle. Love the Vessel. Mystic Rebel, which is one I've been using on Instagram to do the daily card pulls. And then a couple of decks here from the same creator, the Ice Cream Oracle and the Wicked Egg Oracle. So, all right. So let's go ahead and pull some cards for this week. Let's see what we have cooked up for us. By the way, happy 3/3 portal today. As we know that this is a wonderful day for manifestation. So whatever healing work you guys are doing today, whatever it is that you want to manifest, remember that anything, really, literally, the reason I shared those stories with you is because I want to remind you that anything is possible. You know, if we live in basically a simulation, think of the holodeck on Star Trek The Next Generation, you can manifest anything, you can create anything. Our ego mind would have us believe otherwise, but you know what? The ego mind is connected to the ego matrix. So, of course, it doesn't believe in like magic or that anything could happen outside of that program. But we know that that's true. Things could happen outside of that program because our spirit, our soul, our higher self is outside of that program. So, I mean, we've been able to create many wonderful things as a collective, as a human race, as well, basically, I would say as a collective consciousness, which includes not only humans but animal, plant, all types of beings. So yes, whatever you guys want to work on today, get her done. Because also this is about manifesting in the 3D realm, in the material realm. So yeah, anything, any changes, anything that you want to see switched around, or maybe a timeline you want to see switched around in this realm, today is the day to do it. But know that every day is a magical day, and also outside of this realm, time doesn't exist. So it doesn't matter what time you do these things. Technically, you know, it's all at the same time. Okay, let's see here. Peg says, will Pele be conceived today and a big boost of love energy headed our way? Perhaps. Peg said, word on the Astro, she's coming back. Really? Hey, hey. Maybe we could use a little Pele energy. I know that there's been a lot of people saying that this is the time of Kali Ma. So Kali, Pele, these kind of fiery goddesses, which are aspects of the collective consciousness, us manifesting these maybe fiery, divine feminine aspects to come and shake things up, shift things up. For the better, for changes. And we know that change can't happen if we're all comfortable and stagnant. KDS says, happy social work month. Be sure to thank a social worker if anyone runs into one. Thank you to all of our beautiful, wonderful, light working social workers out there. So yay, social work month. Peg says, any of your lovelies hear about this? Yeah, so if you guys have heard about the return of Pele, definitely let us know. Or maybe even Kali. Katie said, yes, I read about Apple too, but I'm not well versed on these things. Oh, sorry, Pele. Pele. John said, pre-pulled 8 of Swords, using your intuition to navigate obstacles. The bottom card, the Pope, learning from people who've been there before. And Peg says, come on, baby, light my fire. You know, do. Speaking of lighting fires, guess what I got going on here? That's my little rose candle going. Angela said, oh, I love Pele. I visited Hawaii and I prayed to her, and the whole trip I could feel a lovely energy beside me. Her vibes are amazing. I actually dressed a beautiful Barbie to fit her fiery vibes. So cool. That's awesome. Dude, speaking of Barbies, I didn't have the heart to give away my Barbies when I was like moving up here, because I had to give away a lot of things and really downsize, like to, I would say 10% of what I owned. So I actually gave all of my Barbies, which there were a lot, like well over 100, all the Barbies I had since I was a little kid. I gave them to my best friend's wife, and I was like, Tamika, you are not allowed to give away my Barbies. Either take my Barbies and hold on to them and love them and play with them. And I don't know, maybe your boys want to play with them too. I'm not sure. Just don't light them on fire. That's all I'm asking of your sons. And I was like, or give them away to another kid or adult that would like my Barbie dolls. I was like, but just like, don't just like trash them. She was like, no, I'm not giving these away. She's like, these are now my Barbies. I was like, okay. So Tamika got to take all of my Barbies when their whole family moved. So I know that they're in good hands now. Katia says, how do you spell the other fiery goddess that begins with the C? I think, oh, Kalima or Serdwin. Oh, okay. So Angela put Serdwin. If you want to see that one, Kalima is Kali and then Ma if you're looking for Kali. But okay, let's see. I want to use for our weekly reading the Wally's World and the White Newman. So either you guys can bust out your decks or just channel that information from good old fashioned intuition slash source slash that is what you are, a source. Maybe you want to bust out a pendulum, which I always keep I've been keeping a rose quartz pendulum in my pocket. I haven't really been using it, but more for the rose quartz energy. So I have my little pendulum there. Or maybe you have some runes or something that you would like to utilize for our weekly reading, but go ahead and grab those. Oh, Kalima. Oh, Kalima. There we go. Nancy says, I'm currently working with Theridwin. Oh, very nice. That's a lovely divine feminine energy. I almost equate it to a very like mother goddess type energy. Yeah, I really I love working with her as well. All right, so let's see, what do we have cooked up for this week as we pull cards on this 3-3 portal? Let's see what Wally has to say. And here we go, is the back of my deck. If you are interested in this deck, the link for that is also down below. Angela said, I'll be trying to read the vibes of my little metal dragon. Says I bumped into her energy through art of her in a book. Lovely vibes, so whimsical. Aw, very nice. Susie says, I have seen 2 little orbs around you, Tara, quick flickers of light. Really? Well, I mean, there's a lot of energy going on around here. I wouldn't put it past the little 4D entities floating around. All right, looks like we have a card from Wally. We'll see what he has to say first before we take a look at what the White Newman has to say. Okay. Ooh. All right, so we have the Crystal Pier, actually. This is a photograph that was taken by me. This is in just past Pacific Beach, kind of heading towards like La Jolla coves and things like that. But we have the Crystal Pier here, and I photoshopped Wally just kind of basking in the little streak of sun that's there. So let's see what the message is, what Wally's trying to tell us with this Pier card. Okay. All right. Okay, so Wally's saying for this upcoming week, actually starting today, going Sunday to Saturday, to look at our 3D perspective as if we were walking along a pier. That the 3D perspective can get us a certain way out into the ocean. If we look at the ocean as all that is, source energy, our intuitions, our emotions, which do come from source, trying to tell us something, how far we can look into healing, all the things that we'd say water represents, which interesting because we're going to be channeling water after this. But the ego can only take you so far out into that abyss. And there's only so much you can see. Sure, from the pier, you can see certain fishes. You might even see a few surfers or, people out in the water. But what happens when you go further out to the places that the pier can't reach, to the places that the 3D ego cannot reach? Then you're in a whole nother world, and it's almost like you're in a whole nother planet or universe. And that's something that the higher self wants you to keep in mind this week, is that whatever comes up, whether you view it as positive or negative, that the ego can really only see a fraction of what's actually going on. It can only take you so far. Sure, the ego can compile facts and data and say, this is all I've learned. Maybe you're the quote unquote smartest human being on the planet, but the smartest human being on the planet is using its potential in its ego mind, and the ego mind, yes, can be highly intelligent. There's so much that we can learn, yes, from our ego mind, but it can only take us so far. And although it can take us pretty far, there is so much more that's beyond it, and so much more that we could perceive and understand. And that's where the intuition comes in. That's where the meditation and stopping to pause and ask our higher self, which some people look at it in the form of guides or angels or whatever it may be, and say, what is beyond what I can actually see right now? My ego can only see X, Y, and Z, but what is beyond this? And it's the beyond where we get an even bigger picture. And when we get to see even more of that picture, it's easier for us to make clearer choices. It's easier for us to be able to understand what is actually happening in our world or happening with our loved ones when we get that bigger perspective. And plus, if we're out there in the middle of that vast ocean that is the all, what can we tap into to help change things in our world that our ego deems impossible? My ego would say that doing this or this is impossible. But when I look at that bigger perspective, I know that everything is possible. So what could I do? What could I tap into to change this reality right here? And it seems like that's what a lot of us are tapping into this week, is we're going to be shown some things in our lives where we can either say, I'm going to take what my ego says at face value and I'm going to stop there. And that's our choice. And of course, there's learning in that as well. There's learning in all things. So there is no right or wrong, but it's making that conscious decision to say, you know what, I'm going to just walk to the end of this pier. And that's as far as I'm comfortable going at this moment in my life. But at least I know I'm making that decision. I know that there's more out there right now. I'm just not ready for it at the moment. Or we might get to the end of the pier and say, I'm jumping off this mug because I know that there's so much more out there. And I know that I'll be safe wherever it is that I go, because I desperately need a bigger perspective of what's going on in my life. So the choice is yours. You guys can either stand at the end of the pier or you can jump off that pier into the abyss, and learn something completely new, different, an alternate way of thinking. I just keep looking at Wally's picture there. He's just so happy. But perhaps he's already taken a dive off that pier. He can already see things from a different perspective. All right, let's go back here. Um, Katie says, does anyone ever mix their tarot cards with tarot card decks with one another? Um, I have actually. I used to do that. There was like 3 decks that I had. It was way back in the day, and I used to just shuffle them as like one big deck. Susie says she has as well. John says it's funny. I pulled the 6 of Swords for myself. Interesting. Need a little rowboat off that pier? Angela says, don't judge anything by their cover. What seems like an angry roar could be a protective gesture. What seems like a monster could in fact be an unconventional angel with claws. Salt looks like sugar, but sugar looks like salt. Dragonfire looks like it destroys, and it does, but it also clears the path for you. Beautiful message. Susie says, I pulled the Arianid for this week. Fate, life direction, sort of wheel of fortune. And Angela said, look at all aspects of that energy that approaches you. No one is one-dimensional, neither am I, and neither are you. This is sorry for any pauses. I had to lay hands on the little dragon to read the vibes. Hey, no worries. Susie said, Angela, I have been working with sugar and a prosperity spell. Ah, so Angela is hoping that Susie's manifestation goes well. And she says, may abundance in all positive ways be with you always and forever. And so it is, Susie. John mixes his tarot decks as well. And Susie said, resonated with angels. Too much to write here. Thank you. And John said, there's a reason angels say, don't be afraid. They're scary in real life. Yeah, they're definitely not the way they've been portrayed in like religious paintings and things like that. They're a little different. Peg said, the winds of change are upon us. Yes, as the wind kicks up. Ah, the little birdies are here. Hey, you guys, check these guys out. They're hopping around the creek, if you guys can see them. James has the well water running right now so that all these little guys come to the creek. It looks like we have our house finches here. We have a little bit of the dark-eyed juncos hopping around. I guess the bigger birds come later, but right now it's just time for the little guys. But yeah, it sure is windy. But they don't seem to be affected by it. And it seems like a lot of these birds, they live in a whole nother dimension anyway. So even though we're inhabiting the same space, they're in a whole nother reality, which is kind of what I feel like when people talk about like the two world split. I feel like that's how it is, where we're still in the same reality, but we're also kind of not in the same reality. So where we're like, man, it's all windy out here. The birds are just down there like, what wind? It's a beautiful day. Like, what are you talking about? And I think maybe that's what that whole thing is, but I don't know. Angela said, with claws and wings and eyeballs, many eyeballs, they honestly remind me of dragons. And Susie said, eyeballs, yes. Angela said, I love biblically accurate angel art. And Susie says, Angela, you are psychic. You definitely are. You all are. I mean, we are psychic creatures. I mean, we're all made of spirit energy. So we all have our abilities to varying degrees and however much we want to open up to them. Okay, so let's take a look at the white Newman and see what else we have going on. Maybe I'll take my sweater off because I'm getting a little warm. Whenever I tap into spirit energy, it like gets really, really warm. Okay. What else do we have for this week? Oh, by the way, I changed the tablecloth, you guys, because I did a whole cleanup of the house, the cabin. Everything is as clean as it's going to get right now without me like literally just cleaning the windows and being like super anal about it. But I changed the tablecloth. I like doing like energy themed setups on our table. So let me show you guys. I decided to like go with more of like flowery, we're going into spring, you know, type thing going on. And hey, well, I have the camera down here. Maybe I'll just show you guys the reading I'm doing. And I also have my big chunk of Amazonite. I've been really feeling Amazonite just as much as I've been feeling rose quartz energy. Okay, so let's see what we have going on here. Okay. Let's see, we have the Empress. We have the 10 of Cups. Here, I'll bring them up for you guys. Doot, doot, doot. And we also have the World. Okay, so I'll keep these turned around so you guys can see them. But all right, let me tap in. Actually, let me put Wally's card here too. There we go. I see brand new like beginnings, endings and beginnings, but of the most intense kind this week. And I think that's that whole like, do we jump off the pier or do I just stay at the end of the pier, because it feels like for a lot of us, remember, this is just the general collective reading. It's not going to be for every single one of us, but for the most part, what comes up for us this week is there's something that would actually catch our attention in the form of endings. So it could be that somebody passes away this week. It could be that somebody leaves a job this week, or the job leaves them this week. It could be a relationship that ends this week. Basically, big, powerful endings, not the kind of endings where it's like, oh, I'm out of gas. I need to get more gas. It's a lot more something that would definitely catch your attention more than that. And we're left at the end of this pier, and we could either say, take it at face value and be like, oh man, that ended, that sucked, I didn't want it to end. And we could be all up in the ego. We could be, and just see it as that there's nothing more, that let's say somebody did pass away this week. And of course, we would be grieving, but maybe we decide that we're only going to look at it from the ego perspective. I'm not going to look at it as that now this person is in spirit and I can contact them at any time. That maybe that they have something to share with me. Maybe there was something that I was supposed to understand or learn from this person's passing. We may say, I'm not ready for any of that yet, and I just want to be angry that the person is gone. Wow, my ear is ringing so hard. That is crazy. Okay, my right ear is ringing like really hard. It's like somebody's ringing a Tibetan singing bowl in my ear. It's so crazy. So wow, that really probably hits hard for some of you guys. But the ending could also be a relationship, and we could say, I'm just angry that the relationship's ended, and it's the relationship that was meant for me, and I want to cling to it. Or we decide to jump off that pier this week, and we say, you know what, I want to see this from a broader perspective, because maybe the energy that I'm in right now is anger. Maybe the energy that I'm in right now is frustration, but I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be frustrated, because what that really stems from is fear. Where's the fear stem from? Not understanding. So I am fearful because there's something that I don't understand, and that is translating into anger or frustration or sadness or whatever it may be. And I'm wanting something more. I want more perspective. I need more clarity. And when you get that clarity, when you get that perspective, you notice that the anger starts to dissipate, the frustration, the sadness, the fear starts to dissipate. So we have a really powerful opportunity this week, you guys, a lot of us, where we either jump off that pier or we decide the pier is as far as I'm willing to go, but the choice is always yours. Whew! Oh my goodness. I'm wondering what this is as it pertains to my personal life. So we shall see. But it seems like we can really do a lot of big changes, big healing in our lives. So with endings comes big beginnings. It just depends on what type of beginning do we want. Do we want a beginning in terms of how the ego views a beginning, or a higher self type of beginning? So, all right, let's go back here and see what you guys got. Angela said, ah, gee, blessing. That feels like a big word. Thank you, Susie. I feel like we're all collectively strong and tapped in together when we're here. And says, oh, my dragon statue is named Amy, or as an amethyst. Ah, or Amy. Russ says, I've heard for every major decision you make, you dwell in another timeline where you live in a realm where you choose the opposite choice. This is God's way of observing us through our multiple lives. Wow. And Angela says, ooh, the world card gives me Mama Gaia vibes. That middle card gives my Father Time vibes. Love them both. Great cards, says Peg. Angela says, Ami's vibes are saying to me, this isn't something you can avoid, and you shouldn't. How you choose to react to is up to you. And Susie says, you jump, I jump is what comes to mind. And Peg said, question on the collective. Is it universe collective, geographical collective, or this little group collective? When I think of collective, or what I'm tapping into, is the like universal collective. So that would be plant, animal, human, all timeline versions of ourselves, all aspects of ourselves in all dimensions. So this would be happening, whatever's happening here is the as above, so below. It would be translated into all of the dimensions above us and below us, um, albeit from a slightly different perspective because they're different dimensions, but the energy would be rather similar. So, yeah, not just the people in the group here. Susie is taking the leap, and Peg's ears were ringing loud too. Dude, it was like a Tibetan singing bowl. Like if somebody went and hit it, and you know that hum, that's what it sounded like. It was crazy. Angela says, I choose to jump. I declare it to the universe right now, today. I choose to jump. I trust the angels and the divine hands to catch me and anyone else who is meant to jump this way. Amen. Peg said, jump. Now that song is in my head. Come on in, jump, jump. Come on, House of Pain. And also crisscross. I'm hearing House of Pain and crisscross. John said, beginning, yes. And Peg said, is it David Lee Roth's song? Susie said yes, but I was, well, you guys are hearing David Lee Roth. I'm hearing House of Pain and crisscross. John said, my other pull for myself was The Fool. Ooh. Oh, taking the leap. Angela said, the one jump ahead song from Aladdin is in my head. And Nancy says, I love Angela. All righty. Well, on that note, and as we've been talking about jumping off this pier, let's tap into the energy of water. So I'm going to be channeling the energy of water and see what water has to say. So I'm tapping into water as an energy, but also water as a physicality, like the water on this planet. But as we know, water has consciousness, just like we have consciousness. We have all the elements within us, which is why the elements are also outside of us. So wind, like we have, but we also have breath. So we have the wind. We have water, as we know. We got water all up in our bodies, as well as water covering this planet. We like to think of us as having fire, which is what gives us that spark of life. But also we could make fire outside of ourselves. And also this fleshy thing, this vessel that we are in, we consider it also earth, just as there is earth outside of us. So of course that means that those things have consciousness just as we have consciousness. And so that is what I tap into when I tap into the energy of water, is I tap into its consciousness, but also it has physicality, just like we have physicality in this realm. Okay, so before I go into the channeling, is there anything specific you want to ask water? That way I can kind of keep it in my ego mind so that I know to relay that to water while it's talking to you guys, because I do keep my eyes closed. I will try to open my eyes from time to time, because every once in a while when I channel, the YouTube chat cuts off. So like YouTube shuts down. I have to, if I don't press reconnect, the chat just kind of shuts down. So I want to make sure that doesn't happen. Yeah, but any questions you guys may have, and I'm going to sip some of this tea. Ooh, that did turn a beautiful color. Heather, if you're watching, thank you so much for this recipe. So again, if you guys missed the delicious tea recipe from our friend Silver Star Priestess, aka Heather, this was skullcap, mugwort, roses, butterfly pea flower, and Egyptian blue lotus. And I threw in a little bit of honey. So let's see. Okay, KDS Worker has a question. Water in cancer cells, what's going on? Okay, so we can ask that as well. I'll make sure to keep that in my brain so I can relay that when the energy pops in. Angela says, I feel like I should include Ami's funny vibe remark. She didn't want me to lay hands, but pet her water. Pet her. Water is healing. Sometimes to be healed is to be pampered. And Peg said, is water ascending? Oh, okay. All right. So those are two great questions. And Katia says, what does the water in our body wish for us to do? Okay. So I think I can remember those three. So water and cancer cells, what's going on? So what's going on with the water and cancer cells is water ascending, And what does the water in our body wish for us to do? Okay, water in our body, water in cancer cells, water ascending. I think that's probably the max amount of questions I can kind of remember when I'm not here. All right, so those are three great questions. We'll ask those. Angela said, a good scratch from a trusted person, a good warm bath filled with some salt, some hot rocks with some nice warm stones. Hey, I got to take a nice bath yesterday. It was great. Susie said, hot rock sounds great in a bath. And Angela says, how can we use water to heal ourselves? Ah, okay. I will keep that in mind as well. And Russ said, is water controlled by those who live beneath the sea, whereas these underwater entities wouldn't need a dome? Okay. So is water controlled by those who live beneath the sea, whereas these underwater entities wouldn't need a dome? Okay. All right. All right. Okay. So let me remind myself. Okay, so water in cancer cells, water ascending, which the water in our bodies want us to um, know, um, how we can use water to heal ourselves, and is water controlled by those that live underwater? Okay, so healing, living underwater, cancer cells, water in our body, water ascending. All right. All right. I think I can remember those five. Let's have a little bit of tea and let's go in. Wow. That is really good. Thank you, Heather. This is a great recipe. That's really good. Okay. Let's do this. Let's do it. So, right now, I'm just grounding myself and reminding myself that I am Gaia and I can never become ungrounded. I'm always grounded to her because I am her. And then I connect to source energy, bringing down source. And I remember that I am source, so I can never leave source. I can never become disconnected from source. Source is within me. And then I just ask my higher self to put up my shields so that everything entering and exiting is for the best and highest good of all. Okay, now I'm just calling in the consciousness of water. And it is helpful that I can hear the water flowing outside from our well into the creek. All right, so that water spirit that I connected to before, it was a channeling, probably about 6-7 months ago, and I wasn't trying to connect to water energy, but this water spirit popped in, and it considers itself the consciousness of water itself, but it's just showing itself in a singular form. So I don't know if you've ever watched the cartoon The Snorks. It kind of looks like a snork. Like blue transparent, but with these like little antennae and like a little like horn for a mouth. Okay, so I'm relaying all of your questions to it. I'm asking it to look into my ego for the questions you guys had. It is erroneous. They say water, water everywhere and not a drop to drink. Erroneous. I know they speak of the ocean in 3D. They say, no, water, salt, drink bad. No, but erroneous. Water everywhere. Water in you, water inescapable. Water consciousness. Always drop to drink. Drinking of self, drinking of you, drinking of us. All water everywhere. Water, water, your cells, cancer. They say cancer, cancer cells. Cancer multiply. No. People multiply. No. Thoughts multiply. No. Energy multiply. No. Yes, yes, yes. All these things multiply. Why? Why, you ask? Cells, cells, made not a part of you. Cells multiply because your thoughts multiply, because your energy multiply. But where are your thoughts going? You must be conscious of your thoughts. Water conscious. Water knows where it is going. Water in cells, water in cancer cells. Water, if water is you, you are healer. Then water is healing. Water in cancer cells, water healing cells. But you must tap into water because you are water, but you forget water. You ask water, water help to heal the body. But body is you? No. Water is you? No. Spirit is you? No. Yes, yes, you are all these things. Therefore, you heal self. You may tap into water, but water is you. Always ability to heal self. Water heals itself. We become frozen, now I become liquid. I become vapor, I become whatever I wish. Third dimensional, fourth dimensional, no matter. Same for you. Water, ascending, you ask. Ascending water? Of course. Water on this planet, water, part of Gaia's veins, Gaia's embryonic fluid, but also you leave fluid of womb, come into being, all animal, all human, but then water within you. This means womb within you, gender no matter. You ascend, water ascend, Gaia ascend, animals ascend, all ascend. It must be. All is one, none left behind. All is one in own time, outside time, no time. You ask, what message we have, water, collective, our consciousness within human body, animal body. Water is you. How do you feel, water wise, so to speak? Do you feel dry? Do you feel flooded? Do you feel balance? When you dehydrate yourself, when you refuse to drink water, there's something that you are refusing about yourself, some aspect. You wish to run dry. Perhaps there was an aspect of your water, of your energy, you are wishing to release, so you wish to run dry. Human body, sometimes adverse effect, running dry, meaning that perhaps the energy you're trying to push away has lesson for you, not learning lesson, now adverse effect in human body. Sometimes opposite, too much water, drowning self. Why do you wish to drown? Why too much water? Why too much liquid? You must ask yourself, now adverse effect in body. Too much, too little, must have your temperance, equal balance, dry, wet, together, balance. How do you feel within balance? Approach all situations. Do I feel dry? Do I feel flooded? Do I feel imbalanced? With your thoughts, with your actions, with your surroundings. If you are upset by situation, this means something out of balance. Is it something that you have flooded yourself with? Are you drowning in something of some sorts? Is it dry? Are you trying to push something away? Are you trying to avoid? Look at the balance of water within the body. No, not just physical water, energetic. You ask beings under the ocean, the sea, the water, no need for dome. Do we control water? It is a symbiotic relationship. Everything on planet connected to each other. We all bounce off each other like synapses in a brain, like cells within the water, with like air bubbles all together, up, down, all around. If we control water, this means you control water. If there is something adverse you feel, perhaps large wave, come to shore, but you didn't want. This is just your other brain. Other brain said, yes, I want. Something changed, something flooded, too much of something. The group must ask, what did we want too much of? Why would we drown ourselves? Questions fulfilled? Yes, questions fulfilled. Ah, now I speak. There is much water. Yes, you see water, water around. Does not matter what part of the planet you live on. All water, water from sky, water from above, water from below. Perhaps the below comes onto shore. Perhaps the above goes back down. Why, you ask? So much water. Time for cleansing. You manifested. Some people put blame onto things that control your illusion, your planet, and say they drown us on purpose. I have no control. Why they wish to drown us. But it is, again, symbiotic relationship. They want to drown you. You want to drown something. You want something to become clean. You want to purify. So you ask for more and more rain, more and more water, more and more floods. You are wanting to be surrounded by your water. You, that's you. Water inside of you, water outside of you. What are you trying to make anew? What are you trying to wash away? Some want to be washed off the planet. Some want to be forever drowned, trapped inside the planet. What is your choice? Some think this rain, violation of free will, but undercurrent, soul, asking for this cleansing, asking from this water, asking you to wake up. Look around. Why did you create this? They cannot push it upon you if you do not wish it to be created. Also, some thinking Syrian, some thinking Atlantean. Yes, yes, much of the resemblance to those timelines. Timelines all exist, all as one. Outside this verse, this box, all as one, all time, all at once. Atlantean, Syrian, time all happening, surrounded by water. Similar timelines, something happening very similar. Atlantis, very similar. Syrian timeline. Change is coming. Do not fear. You asked for it. That is how I go. All right. Whew. I'm all hot now. All righty. Let me have a little bit of this tea here. Come back to planet Earth. Well, that was an interesting energy. It was very similar to the energy we tapped into a while back, like I said, that channeling that we did before. I forgot what it was that was specifically we were channeling, but that entity came up. It was like a water energy, but like a very, very busy, but like all over the place type energy. But I felt benign, like a positive polarity. All right, let me go back and look at your comments while I just calm down. So thank you, Water. Yeah, thank you guys for voting on that and suggesting that. I'll definitely go back and watch our replay later so I can remember, or I mean, I guess see all the things that were said because I only remember partially of what was said. Angela also said thank you, and thank you, Water. Russ said, wow, the original incarnation of Jesus was in the element of water about 35 million years ago. Wow. Angela said, beautiful. John said, I'm a moist brownie. Nice. Peg said, that was a fast energy. Is your heart racing? I'm definitely hot, like I've been running. Peg was saying, amazing. All right, so let's go back to the beginning of the channeling. Katia said, sending love and energy to Tara to guide her in this channeling. Peg said, if it wasn't for you, then there wouldn't be a me. I do not know what a snork is, but you described exactly what I pictured. That's crazy. Yeah, it was like a horn face and like antennae, but you know, it's just how my brain pictures it. Doesn't It's just how I see it. Angela said, contradiction is an element that's all around you, within you, without above, below. It doesn't really easily give up its secrets. We still don't know its depth or what it can give, but it'll be fun. And Susie said, I was picturing a fey water being and playful. Angela said, to explore and find out, just to be safe while exploring. Remember to cleanse, remember to take breathers, remember to have fun and be playful. Go with a guide, an energy who knows water. Splashing around is more fun with someone after all. I don't fight the currents, I just go with it. Very nice. And Susie also, same sentiment, just go with the current. And just Amy says, for those who want to connect with dragon energy, try the water. It flows like liquid. Fire, water, and fire are opposite, but don't hate. They get along and flow and ebb and behave similarly. And Susie said, don't fight it, the current or the choked. And Susie says, that's weird. I heard about being choked. Interesting. I guess like drowning. Like, why would we go in excess, I guess? Susie said, I feel okay being in flow. And she thinks it's for the collective. Angela was talking about the amethyst. Pressure chokes water, can squeeze the serpent, can constrict, so can the dragon's tail, but it's all just trying to hold on. It's not trying to hurt. No hurt, no hurt. None of us want to hurt you or want you to hurt. Earth doesn't want you to hurt. The energies on it don't want you to hurt. She says, you're welcome. I'll email you a picture of her. I've had her for about a year. Whenever I hold her, it's like vibes just flow. That's cool. It's a lot of spiritual cleansing. A lot of people saying going with the flow. Karen says that was the most poetic, beautiful reading. People are talking about being very, very fast energy. Katia says it was like a series of haiku poems. And Russ says that reading was like listening to Jesus. Really? And just said, and Amy gave another vibe. Someone needs to hear this. I know it isn't a message for me, but you need to start doing it all yourself. Ask for help, but also ask for a break, some affection. You've been going, and it's running you ragged, and that's bothering you, but you feel silly asking to be pampered or spoiled, or worry people will giggle or refuse you, and your loved ones won't refuse you. No matter how few admit, all humans and all beings just need a hug. And if you're trying to relax, scratch relieves tension. That's one reason you itch. Anxious energy manifests itches under the skin. Very true. Very true. All right. I think I'm, now that I got to read through comments, I think I'm feeling all grounded again. I think I'm back. So, yeah, again, thank you for voting for that in the poll and for giving space, allowing this energy to come through. I thought it was really fun energy, very fast paced energy, but yeah, I'll definitely go back and rewatch so I can get all of its messages. But I did get the last message, and the last message was that, you know, we had, for whatever is happening, whether we view it as positive or negative, you know, it had to somehow stem from us too. It had to be some sort of co-creation, you know, whether we think, oh, that there's controllers, you know, outside of the matrix that are doing things to us. They couldn't do anything to us unless we allowed it to some degree. And so then we have to ask ourselves, why would we allow certain things, you know, to that degree then? What is it that we're trying to learn, or what is it that we were trying to teach ourselves or get ourselves to see? So to see, SEA. Anyway, so yeah, I thought that was fun. I like that a lot. Okay, so well, now that I'm back, if anybody would like to do super chats or super stickers before we get on to our guided meditation, which maybe we should do a guided meditation with water. I'm kind of still feeling the vibe, so maybe we'll do that. But yeah, I have my decks here, or maybe I could just channel something. But yeah, we could do super chats, super stickers if you guys would like. I'll give you guys a moment. I'm gonna have some tea. Katie says, thank you for teaching me this, Angela. Angela said, hugs. I hope you're feeling okay, Susie. It seems like you need a hug. I'm glad the vibes I read helped you, KDS. And then Karen said, by the way, I saw 3 orbs during this reading. A lot of people are seeing little orbies around here. Interesting. Susie says, Angela, no, I was wondering, pondering all the messages. I feel very calm now. And Angela says, I bet you could see a spa day and a hug with your job. So much respect for you. Your job is hard and you're super brave to do it. All right. Oh, hey, we have our buddy John. All right, John. So is there a particular question that you had, an area you want me to look into, or maybe just a general message from the higher self? Let me know. Mm-hmm. I'll make sure to message Heather later. Thank you for the recipe. All right. I think doing the channeling with water, even though it was like a very frantic, movable, I don't know, all over the place type energy, I think it like calmed me down. I'm like way more grounded now through the water, so that's cool. Alrighty, so let me grab a deck here. I want to use the wicked egg. Yeah. Alrighty. All right. So just waiting to see what our friend John would like to have looked at. Give these a little shuffle in the interim. So yeah, I mean, what was your takeaway then? I know some of you guys had questions, and I tried my best to relay those questions to the energy while it was there. But like, did you feel like your questions were answered? Did you feel that that brought up more questions? Would love to hear. All right, and we have KDS Worker as well. All right, be happy to pull a card for you as well. And she said, really amazing. The water healing cancer cells and us forgetting water hit me. Interesting. All right, so we have John and then we have Karen. Just using the the wicked egg. And if you guys are ever interested in this deck, you can find it on mystica.com. All right, John says, I'm helping a couple ants learn to feel their energy. I've given them both a pendulum. Is there something I should consider while teaching them about it? Ah, okay. All right, so let's dive into that one. So you're helping a couple of your ants learn to feel into their energy. So for right now, they're using a pendulum that you got them. So let's see how else you can aid them. And perhaps maybe aiding them with the pendulum. So let's see. Let me just tap into your energy real quick. Okay, so something I'm seeing before I even pull a card, John, was like you showing them like, okay, well, I literally do have a pendulum on me, so I can literally show you what I'm seeing. Okay. So I'm seeing with the pendulum, like you showing them like actually use your hand to like move the pendulum away, and you just notice it goes away and back, and being able to show them how energy moves in a very similar fashion. You know, that we have the ability to push the pendulum away just as we have the ability to bring the pendulum back to us. So we have the ability to move energy outwards just as much as we have the ability to move that energy inwards. And that you can show them that with the pendulum because not only do we know that we move it with our energy literally, but we can also move it in the 3D. I can move it physically with my 3D vessel. So showing that connection between the energetic realm and the physical realm, that I can move this energy physically, but I can also move this energy energetically if I wish. So it was just something that I was seeing, is showing them moving it away and then it coming back, and they can bring things in and they can also move it away, but also showing that whatever we move away brings in something, you know, so that there's always this, you know, equal balance. You know, whatever I push away, something fills that gap that I've pushed away, right? And things that I bring in, something's got to leave for me to bring that in. So just kind of showing them that equal balance, that beautiful balanced swing of the pendulum. Okay, so let's pull a card then and see what else you can help them with. Here we have the egg that's hidden. This is on a hunt or mission, like a little Easter egg hunt. All right, so let's dive into this. Ah, okay. All right, so your higher self was saying you can help show them the difference between when their ego is in charge and when their higher self is in charge through using the pendulum. So if I don't know if your aunts live together or maybe they live with someone else, but maybe they can have a friend over, but have that friend hide something in the home. So like maybe you decide, okay, I want you to hide this crystal, and I'm going to use my pendulum to help me to find the crystal. So, and it's just like a little fun activity, you know, very lighthearted. And whatever they've deemed, you know, turning it this way is yes and turning this way is no, they could ask questions like, is the crystal in this room? Is the crystal in the room over here? Is the crystal nearby or is it far away? Um, and depending on the answers they get from the crystals or from the pendulum, shows them what is more in charge. So let's say they swing the pendulum. The pendulum, you know, indicates that the crystal is in the bedroom. But they go in the bedroom and they find that the crystal wasn't there. Then they can kind of see, but wait a minute, that was the message that I was getting here. So then they have to ask themselves, well, how much of my ego mind was trying to convince me that it was in the bedroom, and thus I tried to manipulate it to get it to say yes, it's in the bedroom, or how much of it was actually my higher self manipulating the energy to let me know yes, it's in the bedroom, or no, it's not in the bedroom. So being able to just do little activities like that, just where it's more lighthearted, it feels like a game. You know, if there's like a little hunt involved to find something, but that way, showing them that if they're in a frantic space or if they're more in their ego space and they're not grounded, how much harder it is to get messages, how much harder it is to tap into where things are or what things are or even things about themselves than if the ego is in charge. So yeah, so I think that's some interesting activity. Maybe you can work with them, but I also liked what came through about showing them about energy in general. Like what we push away, that means something is coming to us. What we bring to us, that means something has to move away. And what we can move in the energetic, we can move in the physical, and vice versa, because they're connected. You know, as above, so below, as within, so without. They say. Okay, so John said, yeah, they're in different households. So you may want to have them bring a friend over, or maybe you're the person who comes over and maybe you hide a little something, and maybe then they can also use this technique with you. They say, hey, John, we're going to hide this. Now you use the pendulum and you show us how it's easier maybe to find something with the spirit self than it is with my ego self, because the ego, of course, is going to try to like, where would my aunt hide this? It's going to try to like break it down. But the higher self isn't going to do that. It isn't going to try to play the guessing game. It's not going to try to deduce. It's just going to know. And that's what you might be able to help them with. Johnson, thank you for the inspiration. All right, awesome. Let's see. Let's go back to what you guys had said. Angela says, I like to do collective healing candles. Maybe I should do a blue candle to include water in my next one. And Susie feels that we're jumping a whole bunch of timelines, but for our greatest good. All right, let's look at what our friend Karen had asked. All right, so let me shuffle this back up again. So how does plastic bottles impact water? That's right. Some people are talking about, you know, like the average plastic bottle that just because of the chemicals it's made with, sometimes when you leave it out in the sun, it contaminates the water. But let's see what water actually has to say about it, because that's a physical, like 3D explanation. But what's the energetic with water bottles, the plastic water bottles, and what does water have to say about it? Okay, let's go back into water and see what it has to say about these plastic water bottles. Okay, before I even pull a card, Karen, water was showing me, oftentimes with the plastic water bottles, they're clear, right? So that we know that there's water inside. But the water was asking, why do you just want to stare at your water? Why is it that you want to have a barrier between you and the water? Of course, in the 3D, we want to have a barrier because we want to have a container to encapsulate that water so that we can drink it. But water is saying look at it more symbolically. Why do we separate ourselves from water oftentimes? Like, I want to keep the water over there. Or, like, let's say, even with our well water, we have a big, huge container that contains all the water that's been pumped up. So, what is this separation? And it's just kind of wondering why humans like separating themselves from water. Even people that like to be in water, like surfers and swimmers and things like that, there's still this separation of like, oh, I'm doing this now, and oh, now I'm preparing myself for water. Now I go into the water. It just keeps showing me that there's separation. Why do humans want to separate? And so it's saying that that's translating into the water bottles. Why are we keeping ourselves separate from that water? Okay, let's pull a card. Okay, so we have fallen, so like a fallen egg, out of the comfort zone. Okay, let's tap into this one. Mm, okay. Okay. All right. So water was saying that although, yes, in 3D, there are certain plastic bottles that when they get heated up, it contaminates the water. And so people try to get the whatever BPA free types of water bottles so that it doesn't contaminate the water. But water is saying that it's meant to always be in movement, just like humans are meant to be in movement. We're not meant to be stagnant. Water's not meant to be stagnant. That's why we're mostly water. And so when we contain things and keep it stagnant, they said the water gets sick almost. And so how that looks in 3D is that we could explain it away and say, oh, well, it was a chemical breakdown in the water and that's why it's contaminated. And it says, no, water gets sick when it's stagnant. And it actually keeps pointing to our well water that it likes that when we allow it to flow for the animals in the creek and it doesn't just stay stagnant waiting for us to then turn it on when we need to fill up our home with water. It likes to continually be in that flow. It likes to continually be pumped up from the earth and float onto the surface so that it can flow back underground. And when we keep things contained, like I literally have a container of water here, although flavored with plant matter. It says it wants to stay moving. So it's like it wants me to drink this more quickly. It doesn't want to stay stagnant in this glass bottle here. So it's saying even though I could say, oh wow, this is made of glass. It doesn't have the BPA. It's more healthy for me. The water is saying it's technically not healthy really. What's healthy is to keep it flowing. So if you're thirsty, then have some free flowing water and drink the free flowing water. But to just carry it around as if it was a world unto itself, it says that's technically, it doesn't like doing that. It feels like it's very unhealthy. And it understands that we're always on the go, but it says there's water everywhere, just like the being had said, water everywhere. There's always water around, and we could find other ways to keep that flow of water and drinking it. So water is just asking that it not stay contained for too long. It likes to be in movement. And it's also saying why sometimes when water is, let's say, after the rains and there's like a puddle of water and it's just been stagnant there, that's why they say people shouldn't really drink that water because you'll get sick. And it says because the water is a little bit sick just sitting there, like get sick to its stomach. It's like, I don't want to be here in this puddle forever. So I'm hoping that the sun helps me to either evaporate so I can have more movement that way, or I sink down into the ground. Again, thus more movement. So the water wants to keep moving. It doesn't like to just be in one place. So either freeze it, turn it to vapor, let it flow, but don't just keep it in one contained form for too long, is what it's asking. And it's saying that is also a translation to human beings. Whatever it is you want to do, don't stay in one place for too long. You got to constantly be in change and in flux, just like water. Um, so KDS worker was saying, and she said, I heard something about purple plate to cleanse water. Feel like we are imprisoning water. That was kind of the feeling that I'm getting from it, is that it feels like it's trapped, and for right now, it was saying that the human vessel itself is full of mostly water. We're fleshy bags of mostly water. But when we move our bodies or move our energies, so whether we're doing it in 4D or 3D, it still helps to keep the water moving. But if we're not exercising our energetic ability and we're also not moving our physical body, then we start to get sick. And it's saying sometimes that's where the illness comes from, is just not moving, not growing, not learning, being afraid of what we are, which is water mostly, and being afraid of the things that we could create or destroy with that water. And they said, and sometimes that's why people stay stagnant. They're afraid of what they could do. So they don't do anything. They don't do anything in the energetic, and they don't do anything in the physical. And thus disease or dis-ease occurs. That's not always the reason dis-ease occurs, but water is saying that's one of the reasons that happens sometimes. And as far as cleansing water, let's see. Water is saying, of course, we always have the ability to cleanse it either energetically or physically, with filters or with Tibetan singing bowls. But it says we need to always ask first, what is our intention with cleansing this water? Why do we feel that the water is unclean? Which says something about ourselves, that if we feel that ourselves are unclean, how so? Do we feel that we've picked up a bunch of energy that we no longer need? Why did we soak up that energy? And why do we feel that the water soaked up that energy that we have the need to clean it? So it's saying anything that we ask of water, anything we do about water, we should really look at how we're doing it with ourselves. So if we feel like we need to purify our water and keep it as clean as possible because I don't want that dirty, nasty water, then how are we saying that about ourselves? How do we look at ourselves as being this like dirty thing that needs to be cleaned all the time? Why do we think that? And if we're always wanting to imprison water, so to speak, how are we imprisoning ourselves? How are we keeping ourselves trapped, just like we like to trap water? Interesting. Well, you guys had some great questions. Thank you, John. Thank you, Karen. These were great to tap into. John said they are pretty tricky. And Karen said, LOL, because I think we're the newest students to this stuff. And Russ says, I've heard heat and sunlight has an impact on water through plastic containers. Susie was talking about shungite, and water. Russ says we need to drink from drinking fountains, drawing spring well water. Sounds right. And Susie said, but some, not all crystals can be used. Moldavite is toxic with water, so do your own research. Angela's saying definitely yes, do your own research, especially when it comes to crystals. And she said, I instantly thought of the Hoover Dam when I thought of trapped water. Susie's loving it. Russ says, so the water also becomes stagnant in glass bottles. Yep. Susie says, I drink tap personally because we can transmute negativity. Of course, we are energetic beings. Angela says, I've been wanting the sun all the time. Maybe it's evaporating bad vibes. And John said, I am not separate from you. Exactly. And Russ said, I know, this is such an intelligent and advanced group. I love you people. I love you guys too. Yeah, I love all the questions and the things that come up. This is quite amazing. So yeah, I mean, I never really thought about it. I thought like, oh wow, you know, I like to always have my tea in like nice big glasses, and I figure it's glass, so it's safe. But I never really thought about like imprisoning my water, like that my poor water is imprisoned right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and drink it so it can keep flowing, not let it get cold and stagnant. All right. There we go, every little bit. All righty then. Speaking of water then, let's go ahead and get to our guided meditation. So like I said, I like to do these channeled guided meditations. You know, I'll kind of have a theme in mind, but then I just, you know, I let my higher self take over and guide you guys. It does a way better job than I would do, my ego would do. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and do a water meditation. So this would be great. I don't know if you guys want to be drinking water while you do this, or maybe some of you guys live near water and maybe you want to come back to this later, like do this at the beach near a stream or a pond, or maybe I'll go do it near our little creek here with our little birdies. But yeah, more just putting the intention that you're tapping into your own water essence. Because yes, there's a lot of water technically outside the self, but we have a lot of water inside ourselves as well. And so we can tap into that. So let's do that for our guided meditation. And Russ says, I do love sleepers too. They're playing an important role. Yep. And Susie said, thank you, Angela, for all this. I think Angela was sending a picture of her amethyst. All right, so let's go ahead and get ready. I'm going to turn this camera around so you guys can take a look at the creek and our little birdies. And I'll also kind of keep an eye, make sure that we don't lose connection. All right, so let me just get connected here. All right, go ahead and find a comfortable place, someplace that you will not be disturbed for the next several minutes. You could be lying down, sitting in a chair, perhaps leaning up against a tree. Once you've found a position that's comfortable for you, go ahead and bring your awareness to your breath. If it helps, go ahead and place one hand over your heart. Just feel the rise and fall of your chest. Just feel the air moving in to the body. Where do you feel it moving within your body? Feeling the air just like water, moving and flowing. And air just like water, exhaling and moving out of the body. And knowing that when we breathe in, We also breathe in the moisture, the water droplets that surround us. And when we exhale that moisture, that water, giving back, keeping the water moving through air. And how does the air feel as it is tinged with water? Is it cool as you breathe it in? Is it warm? Where do you feel it moving in the body? Do you feel it just coming into the throat, into the chest, into your stomach? Do you feel it all the way into your diaphragm, perhaps down all the way to your toes? And as you continue breathing, I want you to imagine that you are standing in the middle of a beautiful crystal lake with water so clear you could see all the way to the bottom. You can see it's blue, more blue than you could ever imagine, almost surreal. And as you stand in the middle of this lake with the water at waist level, does it feel cool as it surrounds your body? Does it feel warm? Place your hands in the water. Cup your hands and fill it with the water that surrounds you. And as easily as you cup the water, allow the water to drain from between your fingers back into the lake. And the next time you cup your hands and bring this water up from the lake, I want you to hold the water for just a moment and gaze into it, into your cupped hands. What is your personal water trying to tell you at this time? The water that inhabits your vessel, the water that surrounds you, the water that's in the very breath that fills your body. What images do you see within the water, within your hands? Is there a vibration? Does a song come to mind? Allow your personal water to speak to you. When you feel you've gotten your answer, your image, your sound, your feeling, allow the water to drain from between your fingers once again. Feel the droplets of water flowing down your wrists and your forearms, down your elbows, back into the lake. And perhaps at this time, you want to be reminded of the power of water, which reminds you of your own personal power. You and water are one and the same. go ahead and cup your hands and lift that water and raise it above your head and allow the water to rain down your crown, down your shoulders and your torso, back into the lake whence it came. And do this several times until you are saturated in this beautiful crystalline water. And it is here that you have no fear. No fear of lakes or oceans, pools. Because we know if there is any fear surrounding this water, that it only means that we have a fear of something about ourselves. Perhaps we fear our own power. Perhaps we fear our own flow. Perhaps we fear change. But anytime these fears come up, know that you can always come back to this lake and remind yourself that you are the water. Therefore, you have nothing to fear. The more you understand the self, is the more you understand what is outside of the self. And in that, fear has no place. So continue running your hands through the lake, perhaps pouring more water over your body. But when you feel ready, thank the water and thank yourself for showing you a part of yourself. And slowly make your way back into your physical form. You can wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe have yourself a little stretch and open your eyes when you are all done. All righty. Well, that was fun. Maybe I'll do that meditation again. I like that one. So, all right. Thank you all for joining me today. And thank you for everybody who did super chats and super stickers today. John, Karen, everybody who joined us, thank you for all of your questions, for the channeling that we have. Thank you for everybody who voted on the channeling of water. That was a lot of fun. I like everybody who shared their own messages, who pulled cards or channeled their own information, utilized their intuition. Thank you guys for sharing that with us today. Thank you for hanging out with us. Karen says, I'm speechless. Bravo. John said, love. Everybody sending gratitude, lots of hugs and love all around. All right, you guys. And Angela said, love and hugs and gratitude. Also, I manifest you all your favorite cake or sweet treat to find you sometime this month. All right. Well, I will catch you guys next week. I hope you have a fabulous start to March. And I will, catch you then. And I'll be brainstorming some possible topics that you guys could vote on for next Sunday's live chat. All right. I'll catch you guys all later. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Have a beautiful day. Mwah! Bye, guys.